Stampers, it's Brandy here, and I am back with Christmas in July. So you guys loved my Need for Tweed cards with the rustic centerpiece. I've gotten so many amazing emails, so that made me so happy that you loved it that much. So I wanted to follow up. There was one more stamp in that stamp set, and it was a reindeer with a really, just a really pretty centerpiece that felt kind of Christmassy. So we're going to go for some Christmas in July with that same stamp set. So let me show you the card we're going to make. So this is our little reindeer. I'm going to show you how I brought the tree to life as well as the reindeer. And then on the inside, a good friend is a gift. So I just thought that was so cool. And I just also loved this designer series paper. This is another one of those. So let me show you this designer series paper. For those of you that joined me for my for one of the last videos I did with this set, you probably remember this amazing paper. I just loved it, but today we're using this one. In my past video, I think we used this one, and I feel like I'm not seeing the other pattern. Oh, we definitely used that one, right? And this one. So much fun. So let me show you how I colored this. Now we're going to use Stampin Blends, and then we're going to accent the color or darken it a little bit with our watercolor pencils. Now our watercolor pencils, we have two assortments, and I am just going to show you those because I do get this question often. Why are there two different Stampin' Up! Pencil package assortments? That's just because they come in different colors. So you have one set of colors, I think 13 watercolor pencils in one, and I think there's 10 in the other. So when you're looking at the pencils, just think about the colors that you use most frequently. So if you're using it for maybe Christmas or the holidays, or you just are using it for flowers, you might want the assortments with the yellows and greens and so forth. So definitely just have a look at that, okay? All right, so let's get started here. I have my Memento Black stamp pad. I have already mounted my stamp set, and I've cut everything so I am ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to ink up our stamp, and I'm going to do that right here. Just going to add some Memento Black ink to that, and then I'm going to stamp that directly onto my cardstock. So we're going to flip that over, and I turn the paper sideways to get it straight. I know, that just seems kind of weird, doesn't it? But it works for me. So there we go. So that is pretty much it for that stamping. And what I'm going to do now is I have got some Stampin' Blends here. So before I go any further, I should show you the stamp set because I think it is amazing. It's called Rustic Centerpiece. It's an online exclusive for Stampin' Up! What does that mean? That just means that it's only can be found online. So that means that it's not published in any type of catalog. So you would have to find it in one of our online exclusives. Now these are the three stamps. In one of my previous videos, I've given away a tutorial for both of these wonderful cards, but I'm following it up with the emails of Brandy, how about some Christmas in July? So let's go for it. Let's do it. So let's start out with our light Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blend. Now with this, all I'm going to do is just add a bit of color. All right, so I'm just kind of coming up in here, and I'm just following the lines of the tree just to add some color to the tree. So I'm not getting too technical. I'm not worrying too much about all of the wispies and things. You certainly, could spend a little more time and kind of, go through there. But I already know that I'm going to add some accents with some of the other watercolor pencils, and I also have a darker Granny Apple Green. Now the Stampin' Blends, that's what I love about our Stampin' Up! Stampin' Blends, is the fact that you have a light and a dark. So it just kind of takes the guesswork out of it. You know, it just makes it a little bit easier because you know that you're going to have the two colors to create that depth. Now I have my garden green. Now it's funny, I could use my Granny Apple Green watercolor pencil, but I have found that it doesn't give me as quite of an intense look because it's kind of like the same color on that color. So let's just go ahead and use garden green. So I'm taking my garden green pencil and I'm just kind of, well, just kind of following a few of the lines out, or of the branches, I guess you should say. And I'm, again, not really worrying a whole lot about the wispies because I can take my pencil, my blender pen or my Granny Apple Green marker and kind of come back in there. But the idea is I just want to kind of really sort of want to add a few shades of green in there. So then how about we go ahead and grab our dark Granny Apple Green. So if I grab the dark one, I could just kind of come right up the center and just sort of, it does sort of blend this a little bit, but what it does is it really gives some depth to that tree. Can you kind of see that? How it brings it to life, and it really just adds a bit more depth to your tree. And I would definitely follow out a few of the branches just so that, you know, it all kind of looks even and that sort of thing. So there you go. And again, if you feel like, okay, well maybe that's just too much color right in the center, that's okay. Again, just blend it outward and you can add more color. But remember, less is more. So you just want to be careful because, you know, if you add too much at once, well then you can't really go back in and add more because you kind of hit it hard at the beginning. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going. Okay, so I think we're probably good there. So this is a combination of my watercolor pencils and my Stampin Blends. Who knew that you could do that, right? So I'm going to take my garden green one more time and just kind of come down here to my holly and just kind of add just a little bit in there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my pencils here and grab Early Espresso. Now Early Espresso is going to be for my deer, and I'm just going to just kind of do a once over in color, you know, and just add some color here to the deer, and then I will use my blender pen to, you know, to kind of darken that or blend that, if you will. So this is what I love about our pencils and our Stampin' Blends. I just love coloring. I just love it so, so much. So here, let's just kind of finish him up. And you can kind of get a little more technical if you want. I'm just going to start in some of the areas where I want some highlights. I'm going to start depositing a bit more ink by pressing a little bit harder. And then of course, kind of in some of these highlight areas, I just want a little bit more color. So that's where you need to press just a little bit harder. All right, and the same thing in here, you've kind of got all of your, you know, your kind of wood cracks and that sort of thing. All right, so let's grab our blender pen and let me just make sure it's clean here. I thought I had a piece of scrap, so let me just pull that back in to, you know, just to kind of make sure it's clean. I would just kind of go back and forth on a piece of scrap paper. And I am honestly just wanting to just blend this just a little bit, just kind of smooth it out. Now you might be wondering, am I using watercolor paper? I am not using watercolor paper today. You certainly can. I'm not getting too technical. And you know, I'm not getting too technical with my watercolor pencils. And I'm also using my Stampin' Blends. So I didn't really feel like I needed it. So, and you can see here that the color is blending perfectly fine. Now, it's not going to, with the watercolor pencils on the regular paper, it does blend nicer, if you will, to layer colors and stuff on the watercolor paper, but I have always liked using it on the regular cardstock as well. So there you go. So let's kind of clean that off. Now, I showed you this on a prior video, but I'm going to show you this again. So we did an espresso right on the deer, but let's go ahead and kind of make our wood maybe just a little bit more, maybe a little more decorative, if you will. So we're going to add a little bit of yellow in the wood, okay? So we're going to add a little bit of yellow. We're going to go back to that espresso pencil, make sure that's the right one that I have. And I'm just going to kind of go around the edge and the highlight here and just depositing a bit more ink, okay? So we're just going to add a bit more ink, or I should say, color. And then you're going to pull in your Stampin' Blends. And there is no rhyme or reason. I am honestly just kind of eyeing it and adding some color. So you can kind of see that I've done some darker shades or darker areas in there. So I'm going to grab my light pecan pie. Yep, so this is my light pecan pie. And I am now going to blend that. And it's really cool because it will actually blend some of that watercolor pencil, and the pecan pie does pick up some of that yellow. So it's kind of cool because it just makes it look like a different type of wood, which I thought was really cool, especially because you have the deer there with that espresso. So this kind of gives you some of the lights and the darks in that wood. So I just thought that was really kind of fun and very artistic looking. Okay, now if you want that to be darker, I did not even grab my dark pecan pie, but golly, you could grab your dark pecan pie and kind of come back in here if you felt like you wanted to, and added some more, some more depth in there, and just add some more, of the dark color. But I think that's beautiful, and I like that a lot. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to our little red pot. So he's got his little pot in here that he has. I think that this is real red. If you don't want that bright red, you could certainly grab a cherry cobbler. So that cherry cobbler might be my next choice. If you didn't want this bright color. So you could do that. While I've got that bright color out, we'll just add a few to the berries. Now I do have a cherry cobbler watercolor pencil. So I could certainly come in here and just highlight that a little bit more, just to make it a little bit darker. And just kind of tone down some of that red. So I just think that looks super cool, right? It almost looks like I used the dark real red, although, the cherry cobbler is kind of a deeper color, which I liked. And then I'm going to add a little bit of, yellow to my flame there. And then I chose, gosh, I went back and forth. I've done my little candle, I've done that in blue, and then I've done it also in petal pink. So I'm struggling as to really which one I like best, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and use petal pink. I'm very indecisive on which one of those I like best, so let's just do that. Okay, now the very last thing that I'm going to suggest, I wanted to bring his antlers to life a little bit, and I wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do. So what I ended up doing, and I mean, you could do crumb cake on those, but I wanted to just kind of highlight them a little bit. So I decided actually to put a little bit of yellow. Why yellow? I don't know. It doesn't look yellow. It does a little bit, but not really. It just sort of highlights them. It's probably a little difficult to see in the camera, but it just makes them glow just a wee bit, kind of like there's a little bit of light on them. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this card together. I have a basic white card base here. And so if you are liking my video today and you're enjoying watching me color and learning how to use some of these products, be sure to like and subscribe. I've got lots more for you coming. We've got some two-tone tearing for our cards, two-tone cardstock, and we've got all kinds of fun things. So be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that you are notified when we have a video. And of course, if if you are new to Brandy's Cards, welcome. We're so excited to have you. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, be sure to reach out to me. You can reach me at brandyscards.com/blog. So, and you can see that we have an amazing catalog. So we have our annual catalog. It's fantastic. It's full of ideas and lots of inspiration and lots of wonderful products. So if you're a crafter, it's like eye candy. I have one like in every room, every sitting room. So I absolutely love my catalog, and I'd love to answer any questions that you have. We'd love to welcome you into our crafting community and share with you what we all love, making cards, creating them, and of course sending them to our friends, family, strangers, making them for our ministries and so forth. So definitely reach out to me. And of course, while I'm putting this together, don't forget, there is a free PDF tutorial. It's on brandyscards.com/blog. So that's where you'll find your free PDF tutorial. And if you don't see this project, no problem. Just go into the search bar and you'll see in the navigational bar, in the search bar, you can search, Rustic Centerpiece. That's the stamp set. If you don't see that, then just go to the navigational bar, click on videos, and then all of my videos will pop up and you can pick the video that you're looking for. And then of course, inside of that blog post is where you're gonna find your free PDF tutorial. And I hope that you put it in your idea book. So you put it in your own idea book and inspiration. And if you don't have this stamp set, that's perfectly fine. Use what you have at home and take the ideas and you can run with it from there. So that's what we love about crafting. There's always another way to do things, right? And always different products and things that you can use. So here I have this fantastic designer series paper that I showed you before that I am so excited about. I absolutely love it. I make trips to the fabric store just to see how I can use these different pieces. And it's funny because I host an event. It's called BWE. It's called Brandy's Cards World Card Making Event. And at this event, I spend lots of time and lots of thought, and I go through and I try to find the perfect projects. And so we've incorporated fabric in the last couple of years. This year I have some other fun things up my sleeve. So if you're looking for something fun to do in October, we would love to have you join us. Our BWE is held here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it is, I think it's October 3rd and 4th. And if you go to Brandy's Cards, you will be able to click on the BWE link where you can read all about it and you can get registered right away. It's a super fun weekend. We have lots of projects planned for you, not to mention our crafting community is amazing, friends and family, and we will do a lot of fun things. So I added some Stampin' Dimensional right behind my image, and then I added it straight to the top there of my, I think that's Cherry Cobbler. The very last thing I'm going to do here is I have some early espresso. So I've got an early espresso stamp pad, and I've already mounted Grateful for You. And so Grateful for You is going to go, let's see, right there. Perfect. I had to have a steady hand. I'm going to set that aside, and then we're going to go ahead and make a banner edge. To make a banner edge, I'm just going to cut up the center and then come from each corner to the center. So that's going to give me a fairly even cut. Of course, if you have a square or a triangle punch, then you can kind of put that corner in there and get yourself a nice corner as well. So I think we're going to add our sentiment right about there. I'm just going to take and add a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals right here in the back. These are our foam dots by Stampin' Up. They're sticky on both sides. You just pull this contact paper off, and it's fantastic. It kind of allows you, it does allow you to add dimension to your cards. So it's pretty awesome that way. And then look at that. Isn't that fantastic? I've got a couple other cards to show you. So if you stick with me here to the end, I can't hardly wait to show you the cards that I created using this exact same stamp set and the same designer series paper. It's fantastic. So, so good. Now I'm going to center this one right on the front of my card. The funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but I did not center it on my first card, and I'll show you the difference here shortly. And then on the inside, I'm going to add, and it looks like this piece might not be cut perfectly, but you know what? We're not going to let that lose any sleep over that. So I'm still going to add a little bit of adhesive right here in the back, and then I'm going to add it to the side of my card here, get it flush. You see that? That's what I like about liquid adhesive, is it has a little bit of wiggle room, if you will. And so I can kind of wiggle it, and then I'm just going to snip that off. So there you go. And if you want to, then you could certainly take your cardstock and you can layer it all back up here in the center, and then you can add the extra sentiment. And on this card, I added a good friend is a gift. So grateful for you, a good friend is a gift. So I just thought that was really, really pretty. And then of course we have these fantastic low profile sparkle dots. They are amazing. I really do love these. A couple of reasons. I love the sparkle. I like the colors, but I really like the fact that they're fairly flat. So, you know, it just seems like they may probably ship a little bit easier, right? And just not cause any lumpy bumpies. So when you're put your cards and your envelopes and so forth. So I'm just adding a couple of these low profile dots to my card. And of course you can add as many as you want. Sometimes I'll actually take and just, you know, hold it up because it is, you know, that kind of see-through, and just kind of move it around and figure out where I like it. Okay, are you guys ready to see? So let's just look at this one more time. So this is your final card. I didn't add the twine on the one I'm working on here, but you certainly can. It does give it a really nice feel to it. And of course you can decorate your envelope. I decided on this card just to keep my envelope really neutral and clean. But like I said, you can dress it up and how you like it. So let's bring in a couple more of these cards that I created using this exact stamp set and see what you guys think. I'd love to hear which one is your favorite, and if you have the stamp set, which one you're going to create first. So let's have a look. This one is Succulents. So here is this one, Hello Friends. So oh my gosh, I love this paper, and I just thought the succulent was so pretty. If you're wondering how I colored it, there is a PDF tutorial for you on brandyscards.com/blog. Okay, and you can find the video, and then in that blog post you'll be able to find your PDF download. Now here I took the same succulent and I cut it, just kind of broke it apart so that I could add it decoratively on the inside. And then I decided to finish it off with the same pattern that's on the inside of the card, you know, because I just thought it coordinated beautifully. So that is my second card for you out of that set. Here's my third one. If you are a sunflower lover and apples and all of that, it's easy for me to say, you will love this card. and of course the corrugated embossing folder here in the back. And I'm using the blue, the Secret C low profile gems on here. Now you can also probably notice that this one has sort of a wet look to it, and that's because I used my fine tip glue pen and just kind of added some glue on here just so I could get kind of a wet look. I just thought it was kind of fun. It added a little bit of a texture and kind of brought it to life a little bit more. I kept the inside simple, but you could stamp anything that you wanted on that. And then of course I have a coordinating envelope that goes with that one. So there's your sunflower. Here's your succulent. So that is super fun. And then we're gonna have some Christmas in July. Yeah, how cool is that? You guys ready for Christmas in July? Oh my gosh, it's so hot outside. I don't know. I think we are all dreaming about Christmas already, right? So which one is your favorite? I would love to hear. I've had so much fun creating with this stamp set and these products. It's just been amazing, and it just makes my heart happy. I always used to love to color with crayons and things like that. So when I get these Stampin' Blends in my hand, I just feel so creative. And you know, one thing I want to encourage you is don't get stuck on the light and the dark of the same color. Use different shades of reds, different shades of pinks, and layer those up, different shades of greens. It's amazing how much depth you can create. And then of course now today we've mixed in watercolor pencils as well. Who knew? So much fun. So if you haven't done so already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like and subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can leave me a comment. Let me know how you liked my projects today. Of course, which cards you like best, where you're joining us from, if it's your first time here with us at BrandysCards. And of course, you can send me an email as well, brandyscards.com/contact. I'd love to answer any questions you have, and I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. So definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to send you one of our Stampin' Up! Catalogs. You'll find lots of ideas and inspiration in here, as well as you'll be able to see all the products that we offer. So thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget, send those paper hugs all the time. Try to make it a goal to send 4 or 5 cards a week. You're going to touch so many people, and it means so much. So be sure to get in there in your craft room, get creating, and you know, and send those cards, send those paper hugs. All right, thank you for joining me. Until next time, take care. Bye, everyone.